think when we started the band, like I had noticed that there wasn't a lot of that going on. There wasn't a lot of storytelling. There was a lot of songs about like breakups, boyfriends, girlfriends, kind of boring stuff like that. But there was nothing about life or death really that spoke to me. You know, I'd grown up a huge fan of Queen, but also a huge fan of David Bowie, and I'd always loved how he'd been able to constantly change, you know, how he looks. I think in a lot of ways because it reflected who he became each time, and it made it interesting for him. I mean, that's the thing for me. Like, I love to be able to create a world with the guys every time, and I have to be able to change it, you know.
So it depends, you know, from song to song. It varies. Sometimes, you know, you'll come up with a song idea, and you already have everything kind of planned out. You know, like how you want to hear it. But the fun part of being in a band is hearing how others interpret, you know, your ideas, you know, and that's really the great part about especially being in this band, because I feel like we all kind of look to each other as not only creative equals but as inspiration, you know. So when I come up with an arrangement or something like that, I kind of just, you know, let them do what they want to do, and if I have suggestions that they maybe not have thought of, then we'll bring those up. But other than that, I mean, it sometimes turns out even better than what you had in your head.
For recording, basically what happens is a song's born out of usually a theme, a lyric, a vocal melody, guitar line. It has to be like one fragment of something, and then it'd be like a wood pile where everybody throws the idea in the middle, and then everybody's throwing their match on it, and then, you know, you see what catches fire, and we kind of go from there, and the song kind of grows and grows. And sometimes it happens super fast. Like, there's songs on Danger Days that came almost immediately. Like, it spoke to you when you heard the tiny part. Everybody knew instinctively what to play, and it was like it started to snowball.
It's really fun to get into a small studio and kind of just play like, all right, say the song's gonna go just like a, you know, something like that, and then have Gerard he'll sing gibberish kind of in a melody, and then I really like to work with those vocal melodies that he comes up with and kind of support those melodies. So that's my favorite thing to really do.
A lot of the stuff we end up playing on the records is kind of your first instinct, and, you know, when we're sitting down and writing the songs, it's pretty interesting. A lot of times, you know, he'll be writing his bit and I'll be writing my bit, and then, you know, in the practice room, sometimes it's hard to hear what the other guy's doing, but somehow we always end up writing stuff that really complements each other. And, you know, certain songs like on Black Parade, we did do a lot of like sitting down and kind of figuring out parts, but some of the stuff on Revenge, you know, some of the early songs too, a lot of that was just kind of what felt great at the time. And I think it's cool because we each have a little bit of a different style of guitar playing. You know, we come from a little bit different backgrounds, and I think that's kind of what adds to the sound of our band. You know, you have two different style of guitar playing in one, and yeah, we always end up. Thankfully, everything always ends up working out.
Well, I mean, the best way to write a song is absolutely, there's two ways to do it. You know, that moment of inspiration where it's just pure and it's driving you and you can't fight it back. That's the best kind. And then there's other times where you really just got to sit and kind of work at it and pick up a guitar and just play it. You know, one of the things about Danger Days was the guitar kind of became my personal enemy on that writing process, whereas Parade, I would pick it up all the time and try to write songs. I found that I couldn't do that on Danger Days. I had to do it with beats or keyboards, and now I've found that I love the guitar again, so that's been kind of nice.
Making this album, we really were using instruments that we never thought to ever touch before. Like, you know, like we were finding inspiration from almost anything. There's so many different instruments at Cavala's studio.
For this last record, for instance, you know, it was like, forget what you know, put down the instrument that you're comfortable with, and approach different things that you maybe you've never played before, or even, you know, pick your guitar back up, but approach it as if it were a percussive instrument. You know, just take different approaches to things, and you want to capture that immediacy, that innocence that you might have lost along the way from maybe overanalyzing your instrument.
You know, one of the things I like is every time we make something, we learn from it. Your next record should be different, but it should kind of be the sum of everything you've learned, and you kind of learn how to fold it over into something new, you know. You know, already the sound is much different. That we write a song every day pretty much. If we have a long sound check, we're up on stage and inevitably we make a new sound.
There's only so many times you can play your songs where you're like, you get a little bit bored on stage, you know? So, you know, one guy will be playing one riff and drums will come in, and then, you know, all of a sudden we're writing a song. So we record every show every day, and usually at the end of the week or maybe a couple of weeks later, we'll go back and listen to the demos we've recorded. And that's, you know, that's good to do because, you know, you kind of have like at least a basis to start with when you actually get off the road and kind of, you know, can get writing for real.
I never liked when a band has been around for, say, like 10, 15 years, and you say you took selections of their career and you couldn't place it. You know, that to me isn't my favorite kind of a band. You know, I like to know, like, all right, this was from the beginning, this was from the middle, like this is the progression basically. Like the band needs to change a little bit, and just as artists, you know, we feel like we need to move on. We need to progress. We need to reach that next level constantly.
Yeah, I mean, we spend every minute together in the recording process. If either for support or friendship, like we're watching each other do each other's parts. We're encouraging each other to do better, and but we work on arrangements absolutely together constantly.
Epiphone was always the kind of guitar that we could afford, but would also, you know, stand up on the road. And so years after, you know, playing and stuff like that, we were approached by a wonderful woman, Cara, from Epiphone, and she was like, you know, I'd like to help you guys out. I know you guys need some guitars and stuff. And I was playing their Les Paul Elitist series, and they're great guitars, but they were super heavy, you know. So like, she came to me and was like, you know, would you ever want to consider maybe making your own guitar? And I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, why not? You know, that'd be a really great challenge. So I tried out the old Wilshire, and I stole the body from that, but then I replaced the neck and headstock and the pickups from their Les Paul Elitist, and I made a couple other little tweaks. There's a Tonomatic switch and a kill switch here. It's really super light, and it's got a hell of a tone. Basically, it's my own little hybrid, and we call it the Phantomatic.
I played guitar before I played the bass guitar, but I think I excelled at the bass over the guitar. This is a custom bass. Fender made it for me. It's a Mustang, and it has EMG pickups to kind of simulate a P bass sound. But I really like the short scale neck, so I wanted something with like the power of a P bass. It's just fun to play, really. As juvenile as that sounds, I just love playing Mustangs because they're just that much more fun, I think.
Well, this is actually a kind of a cool story. This is a session guitar. It's actually a Gibson Les Paul copy, and I got it for Christmas must have been like 16, 17 years ago. My older brother got it for me for Christmas. You know, he was kind of like my idol growing up, and he was always up late playing, like, you know, till 1 or 2 in the morning, and so I would always hear him play guitar, and it was something I always wanted to do. So I think when I was probably about 15, 16, he got this guitar for me for Christmas, and I've been playing it ever since. For a while I actually stopped using it, but then I just recently got it fixed up, and it's been on every record, and the thing probably costs like $300, but it's one of my favorite guitars.
Currently, for my main tone, it is an orange Thunderbird 200 watt, which I overdrive with a blues driver, just a Boss blues driver. That's like the main distorted tone, and for my clean tones, I use a Vox AC30, which I don't know if you can really beat that, you know.
Kind of amps I use the Ampeg SVD Classic and the A10 cabinet.
Right now I'm playing stuff made by Dave Friedman. I have two of his amps. They're kind of like JCM 800s, kind of similar to that. And the other head I have is a Metropolis. So total I have 3 heads running. 2 of them I have running all at the same time. They're kind of EQ'd wise, they're a little bit different. One's a little bit kind of more top end, the other one's a little more bottom. And then I have a 3rd amp to kick in for when I do leads and solos and things like that.
As far as like specialty tones here and there, I guess my secret weapon is the Swollen Pickle. That pedal just slays. It's crazy what that pedal can do. And I stay true to the old Boss TU2 tuners. I don't like anything else.
I have a Pog for certain songs. I have an Aguilar Agro for distortion. I use the Boss tuning pedal. Can't go wrong with that. I sometimes delve into using a SansAmp. Sometimes I want an A tone, a B tone, and sometimes I'll explore that with a SansAmp.
Effects, I have a bunch of stuff. One of my favorite pedals is Electro Harmonix Pog pedal, which I use a lot for, just kind of like, it's an amazing pedal. Like it adds like really nice growl, really nice sub-octave to riffs. Like if you're doing single note stuff, it just kind of beefs up the tone. I also, on records, I do a lot of, doubling and kind of stacking of guitar parts. So the Pog actually comes in really handy to add like a higher octave or like 2 octaves up, and it's kind of like a cool subtle thing that you can do even on leads, where you just have a little bit of the higher octave and it kind of adds like more harmonic dynamic to it. A couple other things I use is the MXR Carbon Copy, which is incredible delay pedal. TS9, Tube Screamer, just like basic stuff here and there.